We just celebrated Shavuot, the holiday when we received the Torah at Mount Sinai. And so in certain ways, this is a good time for us to consider our connection to Yiddishkeit and what the fundamentals of Judaism are. What are the fundamentals of our service of Hashem? One of the ingredients, one of the parts that is vital to the proper service of God is what we call our emotional connection to God, our love and our awe of God. As a matter of fact, in chapter 41 of Tanya, the Alter Rebbe says that the beginning of one's service, its root and its foundation is awe of Hashem, fear of Hashem. Now, what does this mean? What does it mean to fear God? It seems so primitive. It doesn't seem like something that is for a inspired religion. Love we can get, but why fear? What does fear mean? Now, there are those who translate fear as literal fear. I'm afraid of what God might do to me if I don't do the right thing. I'm afraid of punishment in this world, in the next world. There are all kinds of punishments that could happen to us, and the Torah doesn't enumerate them. And that's what I'm afraid of. Well, according to Hasidic philosophy, that is not the fear that we're talking about. That's not the fear that we should focus on. That might be true, but it's not what fear of God is meant to be. That's actually considered coming not necessarily from the highest point of holiness, that kind of fear. So what fear are we talking about? So I heard this story, and it's a story that I probably related in the past, but I want to emphasize some aspect of the story that brings out what's the fear of God that we're expected to have. So there was this couple who were Holocaust survivors. Both father and mother, or husband and wife, came out of the camps and were absolutely alone in the world. The two of them got married and moved to America and had a young son. This boy had all the attention and love and care of his parents. And as this boy grew older, they sent him to school, and he had both secular and Jewish studies in the school. When it came, but his focus was on secular studies, and in Jewish studies, he didn't do well at all. Actually, he was kind of wild and a difficult child when it came to the Jewish subject matter. And he basically wasted his time, did not gain much knowledge at all. When it came to his bar mitzvah, which just happened in 1960, his father wanted to take him to a great Jewish leader to receive a blessing. So his father told him, we're going to the Lubavitcher Rebbe, and we're going to have a private audience with him, and he will bless you for your bar mitzvah. He was very excited and looking forward to this special blessing. When he mentioned this to one of his Chabad friends, the fellow said, do you know what you're getting into? So what do you mean? Well, the Rebbe tends to ask the young people who come in for the bar mitzvah questions about what they're studying in school. So hope you know what you're learning in school. And he didn't know anything at all from his Jewish studies. And now, something about children of Holocaust survivors is they certainly do not want to disappoint their parents. They are seen by their parents as the apple of their eye. Here is someone who's taking on a lot of what they went through and living for all the generations and all the family that didn't make it out of the camps. And you could imagine how much investment and care and love that their parents put into this young man. His name was Chaim. So Chaim doesn't want to disappoint his father, but he's afraid what's going to happen when he goes to the Rebbe, and the Rebbe asks him, and he knows nothing. The only thing he knows is one Mishnah in the entire Talmud, one Mishnah, one little paragraph, that he was punished for a punishment once. He was told he has to study this or he can't get back to school. So he studied this one Mishnah, and that's all he knew. The night before he was meant to go, he couldn't sleep all night. He was tossing and turning, worried and concerned of what's going to happen. When they finally arrive the next day, his father gets dressed in his Shabbos finest and dresses him in that as well. And they come to the Rebbe's office and quite late at night to go into the Rebbe for a blessing. And as he's standing there, first the Rebbe turns to his father and talks to him. And then he turns to the young man and bar mitzvah boy and says, what language? And he said, Yiddish. And he speaks to him in Yiddish and he asks him questions without anyone telling the Rebbe anything, on the one Mishnah that this young man knew. The one Mishnah. He asks him one question, another, and he knows it because it's the one Mishnah he knew. So he responds this way, he gives him all the answers. And his father is standing there and his smile can't be wiped off his face. After the Rebbe blesses him, they walk out of the Rebbe's room and the father picks up Chaim, hugs him, kisses him. You could see the incredible joy and nachas that his father got from Chaim when he knew the answers to the Rebbe's questions on this one Mishnah. Now, there's great messages in this story, not just what the Rebbe knew, how the Rebbe just hit on this one Mishnah, and how the care of the Rebbe, not to embarrass him, but I want to bring out just from another angle completely, and that is, this is what fear means. This young man was afraid to disappoint his father, not because he was afraid of the whip, not because he would get punished. He just knew how much his father invested in him, cared for him, and wanted the best for him. And he did not want to disappoint him after everything his parents did for him to be in this world. And that's what fear of God is. We have to think of ourselves, as the Baal Shem Tov said, that every Jewish child is like a child born to elderly parents in their old age, the only child born to elderly parents in their old age. That's how we view ourselves. We see how much of Hashem, God, invests in us. The talents he's given us, the abilities, the blessings, everything he's invested in us. And he hopes, and he has aspirations for us. And he's given us the abilities to succeed spiritually in all aspects of life. We do not want to disappoint him. When our relationship is close, when we feel a closeness to God, then we must feel always that, how can I disappoint him? How can I make him not proud of me when he has done so much for me and my family? All the blessings that I have, that is given by him. Everything in our life, a blessing from God. How could I disappoint him? That's the meaning of fear of God. That's what we have to incorporate, and that is foundational to our Judaism because it makes our relationship very close. It's not some God up there, powerful. It's a God that has a personal relationship, that looks to us, that has hopes from us, and cares for each and every one of us. If we incorporate it into our life, it would make a big difference. It would be a foundation of Judaism for ourselves. And if we could inculcate that into our children, it'll make sure that they are more committed Jews as well. Good Shabbos.